sucker. With ceilings like that, usually the biggest I have seen is 10 feet, but I'm sure they make you pay for that extra 4 feet. Well, yeah, sounds good. All right, well, I'll just get back to your night, and I'll get a hold of you soon, and we'll just take a quick look and see what happens. Appreciate you coming back to me, sir. NT0Y.
You want my phone number?
Yeah, let me get my phone out. Hang on 1 second here. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Hey, very good. It's 517-614-6573.
All right. Got it in the old log. I'll give you a shout soon. Appreciate it again.
It's kind of big, you know, if you was to take, I did that with the Cushcraft. Took the driven element off the tri-bander and put it up on, you know, and it becomes horizontal dipole, you know, and then I had it set up so that, you know, I could run it on 20 meters horizontal. But, because they sell that kind of stuff, you know, with some of the manufacturers, now that MFJ is gone, that, I don't know, anybody can come up with a good excuse to acquire a business like MFJ. That would have been something else. You know, the guy Martin Jew, he didn't want to run it anymore, and he wanted his kids to take over. They didn't want it, so he slammed the door and walked away.
Well, yeah, that's just insanity with the amount of gear they were putting out. Every ham has at least one piece of MFJ gear. And while the reputation wasn't always top-notch, what it was accessible and affordable, and that's going to be sorely missed. I'm not pleased about someone not taking it. So I know they have managed to divest very certain parts of it, but then, like you said, the prices went way up, and they certainly did not hand off all of it. So pretty soon MFJ tuners will be priceless antiques. So it's unfortunate, especially when they were the go-to. I did see one interesting beam from Mosley. I think instead of the TA-33, it was an SA-33, if I'm not mistaken. And it was 7, 14, and 18. Kind of a weird band layout. But it did have 40 meters on it, and it was I think it was a 3 element. And of course Mosley isn't cheap, but it's also bulletproof. So we were looking at that, but it'd be interesting to take a look in the KDAPA stockpile, see what's going on too.
The one I had, it was up there for 10 years, and a storm come along, and it wasn't the fault of the antenna, it was the fault of the engineer that, you know, myself. I used a thin wall mast that was only 3/16 thick, and I should have used a 1/4 inch. And the torquing from the tri-bander, the 6-meter beam was, you know, 5 elements on a 40-foot boom, and Yagi, but it also, you know, if I had done it in a quad, it would have been, you know, a loop antenna makes it nice and quiet. Doesn't put, you know, capture as much interference as a Yagi would. But anyway, yeah, there's like I say, I just took a whole driven element off a tri-bander and made a rotatable dipole. It's you know, set up so that it's in a horizontal mode.
NT0Y. Well, that's a really interesting idea, actually, because I wonder what the feasibility is of taking like a 20-meter driven element off of something and adding some inductance at some point. I'm not quite sure what the mechanics of that would be. I'm sure YouTube knows. and add some inductance and tune it down to 40. Shortened 40-meter rotatable dipole. Might be an interesting project, and the students this year are very, very much engaged. And the theme of the year is projects and getting your hands on things, and doing and experimenting. And that might be something they would enjoy.
For the radio station, but I just never was able to figure out where to go to get, did they ever take down that 30-foot satellite dish, or, that big dish that was leaning over towards the, somebody said that, a company came in there and took a bunch of stuff, but then left the dish in the mount, and it's just a beast of an antenna, leaning towards the sidewalk.
No, there's no antenna up there. No dish. This is VHF, UHF setup, satellite setup, AZEL, and then there is a tower, just a little 25-foot guy, because it's already sitting 80 foot up on top of the 4th floor of the engineering building. And then on that tower is currently that Momo beam pentabander, and then there is a off-center fed dipole inverted B for 40 and 80. So that thing just picks up an ungodly amount of noise. We need something that's perfectly horizontally polarized, or it just ain't happening. There's these massive air conditioners up there that just run 24/7, and you go down to 80 meters, and it's S9 plus 30 in noise. Good luck.
That's what I've run into with I had a cable leak one time. I didn't realize it. My dad was, the house is gone, but it was over on Miller Road across from Myers. And he was grinding away on one of the dormers and didn't realize that he nicked the RG6 with a messenger wire, or that's how they hang it, but some guy had also run into one of the telephone poles on the corner of Orchard Miller, and so here I had, leaks coming from the line going to my parents' house, and leaks from the telephone pole. I could take I had a 220 repeater, and I take it out of town, and get 4 or 5 miles out of town. Thing worked perfect. Bring it back, hook it up, and it's just nothing but interference, and thing was just a nightmare. I ended up getting rid of it, sold it to a guy in California on yellow sheets, and I went with a UHF. So anyway, all right, we'll keep that in mind. I'm retired, so I'm home all the time. Just give me a call on that phone line there. KD8PA.
W8BBI repeater.
All right, Greg. Yeah, hey, sounds great. Good to talk to you. And I'll be getting a hold of you by phone. We'll see what's happening. KD8PA, NT0Y. Have a great night, 7-3.
Quick question.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Did you ever see donated to your group there an AL1200A7? There's another version of that, but it's got an 8877. Well, anyway, I'm just curious if you ever seen a big amplifier come through.
Well, sure enough, there's a couple of them there now. One of them is a, I have to think about this. It's not an Ameritron, for sure. It's like a, Yokohama something or other. It's a completely automatic self-band switching solid-state amplifier. That's the one that's in service right now. The other one is, I'm gonna have to think about what the other one is. But it's not an Ameritron for sure. It's not like a Yaesu or an ICOM. It's one of the other major, I want to say maybe like an ACOM. It might be an ACOM, but a tube version from a little while back.
I don't know exactly what you're talking about. A friend of mine had one.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that the ACOM certainly does the trick. But I'll tell you what, that solid state amplifier with the band switching, that thing is just magic.
Well, I just curious because I know a friend of mine, when he passed away, his wife, he had a list of things that he wanted people to have. Well, she just kind of ripped that out of the pig and crumpled it up and threw it in and donated the whole thing to MSU. You know, he had a 7300, had that AL 1200, and I think there was some kind of auto tuner. But anyway, yeah, it went to MSU. So anyway, I was kind of sad because he had said he was going to let, I ended up with a bunch of 811 H's and got those sweep tubes in there. So they sometimes they're not very forgiving. If you don't watch what you're doing, you're going to end up buying another set, and they're like $300-400 for a match set. All right, very good. I'm just curious what was going on up there. All right, KDPA.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it. I think I know exactly the person you're talking about, and well, maybe not. The person I'm thinking of had a Yaesu FT3000. Maybe we're talking about two different people. But anyway, I've been walking around a little bit, getting some exercise, so I'm gonna head back in and call it a night. Good talking. NT0Y 73.
NT0Y. Okay. Well, funny. It sank in. I was trying to remember. Got short-term memory. Yeah. I'm just you're going to be 75 in April. So far so good. All right. Catch you later, KDP.
8A KD8PA W8RQS.
That's W8RQS, KDPA.
Listening in here, you said something about 4-bay something. Is that like a folded dipole?
Yeah, it's harnesses on the outside, then they got loops. 16 of them, loops. The thing breaks in the center, so you take a clamp off and you pull it on it, and it folds over. So it's only 20, instead of 22 and a half or so high, it drops it down to less than 12.
It's got 16 folded dipoles? Is that what you're saying?
And each one is, pick a compass heading, east, north, south, west. It, has 4 bays on each direction of the compass.
That's all one unit? What frequency is that on?
UHF, 450 or 440 to 470.
Just a few more questions. There's 16 of those, and they're on all 4 points of the compass?
Correct. Yeah, we got the bottom sets facing west. When you orientate the antenna, you got to, like I say, there's also a connection between the lower half and the upper half. You got an end connector with bishop tape or gooey stuff to mix it so that it's. I had it for my 442 repeater. But the problem is, in fact, there's one over there in Diamonddale. Roger's got one, but he put up the top half because he didn't have enough strength by himself to put up the whole thing. So he just took the top instead of being having all that other extra. But the bottom half is really strong, really thick, and the top half is really thin, but it's, commercial grade. It's even got a little loop on the top. You can pick it up with a crane and drop it on the tower.
what weight? What would the weight on one of those be? Like you got the bottom half and the top half?
Yeah, I got the top and bottom where they go together, and then they kind of like a little twist to them to lock them in place, and then they've got a stainless steel clamp. And yeah, it's DB Products, is I believe, and it's the 16 bay. And in fact, I think Dan had it for a while. Dan Harger, he was going to use it on one of the repeaters, but didn't live long enough for it. And but he had modified the because it was more for the upper half of 440 or repeaters and stuff like that. But yeah, I threw it on the analyzer and it loads up real nice.
Have any idea how much that would weigh?
I would say that it the whole thing, once you get
Can. Certainly can. You got to have everything bolted down and, like a sailor, batten the hatches and get everything secure. So yeah. Well, I think that's way too heavy for what I would be willing to put up on my kind of smaller tower.
Yeah, you'd want to definitely have a thick-walled mast. That's it's definitely heavy duty. It's another one of those antennas that it can take close proximity. When lightning comes down, it's not just the bolt that hits the tree; it's also the residual stuff that's all around it gets electrified. I had a gauge that used to be able to hook it up during a thunderstorm, and you sit there and watch the thing, and all of a sudden it would get up to it says lightning potential, and as soon as you hit that, it would boom, boom! Oh wow, that was close. Yeah, that was a lot of fun watching that thing jump around. Even on power lines, commercial electric, I had a gauge that was 6 to 8 inches in diameter. And it was good from 0 to 300 volts or something like that, and hook that up to an antenna and watch the thing quiver from all the transients from the lightning bolt. They just kind of spread. And I was sitting there one time, and I had a center-fed dipole. All of a sudden, I heard this pop, pop. And I went, what is that? And kind of could smell some of the ozone. And opened up the feed point, and all the capacitors and coils were basically melted.
W-H-B-C-I repeater.
I think some of that stuff is called induced electricity. It jumps from here and there and comes through the air. And I actually watched a lightning strike. I was up near Harrisville, going over to the old 127, through the Kirtland area there. There's a very, very tall tower there, and I was driving towards the tower, and I watched a lightning strike hit a high tower there, and it wasn't instantaneous. That lightning bolt touched the tower, and it sat there for a little while, just crackling, and then kerboom, it was over, but man, I don't know. People don't understand how powerful lightning is. They put on a, lightning arrestor or something, and it tears up 200 feet of 1-inch hardline or something, or 4-inch hardline or whatever. It just melts everything.
Yeah, that's what happened with a buddy of mine up by Fox Park, and the insurance company claimed they're at a loss of why didn't the house just catch on fire. He hit the chimney, and he had a ground plane next to that, and it went down to a Kenwood TS-130, and the power supply next to it had a hole in its the size of a shotgun, and a whole bunch of stuff just, burned up, He said, the insurance broker says, man, they replaced the TV and a whole bunch of different things. But anyway, all right. AQ, RQS, KDAPA, the other gentleman, is he still in here?
Jay, he said he was going in the house. He's been out walking and exercising and on the road, and he was, he talked to you after the net there, so that's Jay.
Well, I'm going to get out of here. I haven't, I ended up sitting in my car and using the mobile unit because I didn't have anything hooked up in the apartment where I'm staying at. So we're going to give up, go in and catch the news, and go to bed. KDAPA.
EPA, thanks for taking my call. W8RQS 73.
PA, along with W8RQS. This is WB8PPB, Don and DeWitt. Hey, how many of those Mosley TA-33 parts do you think you have left?
Antenna, I got a whole complete. It's just that the cross arm, or the buck arm, the driven element has two insulator, they've got a square stock, and that bolts to the boom, and then it's got two arms that have two insulators, left and right, and then all the other stuff is just a matter of like a muffler clamp, and it goes together fairly fast. I just don't have the room. I've got trees everywhere, and I just didn't want to cut all the trees down, even though I did in the front, but I didn't. I put that antenna up. But in the meantime, I moved. I sold that house and moved on. So it's I got the one there, the cross buck. Had the two elements on it, and they had it tuned for 10 meter FM. And so it must be the antenna, or the antenna must have got damaged in the ice storm, and so all that was left was the cross arms and the driven element, and or the reflector and the director. Always been fond of that kind of antenna. Must have owned a dozen of them. So, yeah, you get a chance, stop by.
I had one at the cottage, and when my mom sold the cottage, we kind of ran up there and took it down. And it's up in the attic, and I don't know what's, I'm sure it's all there. But I know Steve is familiar with that antenna, so maybe Steve and I can run over there. We'll give you a call, and maybe Steve and I can run over there and take a look at it. Not sure. I know I've got all the traps, which may have to be rewound, but I'm sure Mosley can help me with that. But boy, if you've got pieces left over, I'd like to take a look at them, Greg. But, hey, I'll let you go. I know you've been on here for a long time. And say hi to you, Steve, as well. 7-3, guys, getting late. Back to you, Steve, W8RQS. This is WB8PPB.
Hey, just one quick comment there. I rebuilt mine. It was a TA-33 Junior, so I've got the smaller, lighter, shorter, more compact version of it, but still a great antenna. I don't know if I told you this, Don, but when I started working on mine, I wanted to kind of test it out and do some stuff, but before I even rebuilt the traps, I took the driven element and took the traps off it, and did the math and put out some aluminum, just aluminum tubing off the end of it there. I made a 10-meter rotatable beam and played with that. My second contact was to Japan. So don't think you have to put the whole thing up even. You know, a rotatable tri-band element up there would work. But yeah, I'm willing to take a look at it. And about the third time I talked to Mosley, they said that I didn't have to buy parts as it is in their catalog. He said, I'll just sell you any of the stuff. Coil forms, or they sent me wire to rewind the traps. They just sent me parts and pieces, whatever I wanted. So they're a good company to work with.
Correct.
PA. He may have gone in the house. He was out in the car, and he was he was going to go in and watch the news and get something to eat. So he may have cleared.
I know I have the traps. I know that. The only thing that I may be missing is the piece that attaches to the antenna. I mean to the tower itself. It's all up in the attic, and of course I can't climb anymore, so I'm gonna have to get a neighbor kid or somebody to go up in the attic and bring it all back down. But you know, before spring gets here, I sure would like to, you know, start working on it and maybe possibly get that thing back up in the air again. You know, I've got the rotor, I've got all the pieces I need. I got the tower, got everything we need to put that thing back up in the air. I just need to get that antenna back to working order again.
WHCCI repeater.
I think the first thing to do is get it down out of the attic. I've got room, you know, to stand the elements and all that stuff up right out in the pole barn. Still got enough room in there. And on a reasonably warm day, I can turn on the heat inside the pole barn there, in the workshop area, and we could play around with it. Heck, we got all winter, I guess. It's, you know, sometimes I don't have the ambition to go out there when it's cold, and, you know, I have to heat it up and cost me a little bit of electricity, but, you know, we could do that. We could work on it.
And I have a propane, kind of a small propane salamander heater that probably would be a lot cheaper to operate than your electric heat. You know, if we're just talking about, you know, not where your desk is located, but the other part of the barn. And maybe we could get that to, maybe we could get this thing done. I'd love to put that thing back up in the air again. I think it would be cool. Well, hey, listen, I've been fighting with the pharmacy for the last 2 days. I have a prescription that was theoretically supposed to be filled, and they're telling me I need to have the same prescription I've had filled for, I'm going to say 10 years now, and all of a sudden, because of the 2026 year change, they don't want to fill it. Have to have prior authorization. I called the doctor. They never called me back. So, like I said, I've been fighting with between the doctor and the pharmacy all day long, trying to get this prescription refilled. So, but I'm sure though tomorrow will be another day. But good to hear you, Steve. and I'm going to hit the sack, and I think this is something we should talk about, and maybe see if we can't resurrect this, get this antenna back on the air again.
Certainly, oh, excuse me, had to cough. Yeah, we certainly could do something. I don't know what. We get it down out of there and evaluate it. That would be the first thing. And we could even put like the driven element up on the roof of the pole barn. That's where I played around with mine. I can get up there on that roof, and it's not very steep or anything. It doesn't scare me, or I don't have the balance issues or anything. I can go up there on the roof on a nice day and put up the driven element, and I do have a second rotator, whichever you prefer, and a control unit for that. So we've got a lot of the tools that we need to work on it and play with it and test it.
Hey, Steve, sounds great. And I think the way Greg talks, any pieces we may need, he may still have. So I'll get together with you here, and maybe we can get this thing to work. All right, I'll let you go. 7-3, and good hearing you again. This is WB8PPB.
And I'll let you go. Yeah, if you want to go over and look at that, I can drive. We'll get over there and sort through his stuff. I got a lot of stuff from him already, but I wasn't interested in a big Mosley. But if he's got the parts, why not?
NT0Y, do I get to come?
Oh, Jay, I wish you would.
All right, sounds like a plan. Just let me know what you guys are thinking. I would like to tell you something crazy like my schedule's open, but hopefully it'll line up. I guess we'll see.
Hey, I forgot to tell you, you're the guy that's got to go up in the attic and bring the remnants of the TA-33 down from the attic.
That's fine. I think I can manage that. I can't bring the ladder to do it, but as long as the ladder's there, I'm game.
Oh, we have pull down stairs.
Done deal.
Right. We'll work within your schedule, Jay. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. WRQS to take it. This is WB8PPB, LC73.
WB8PPB, W8RQS 73, and Jay, I guess it's up to you to pick a date and time. We're both retired, so make it fit into your schedule. You're going anyway, I guess. So we'll go over there and sort through everything he's got left. Wouldn't mind taking a look at one of those Station Master things, but that's a huge, big, huge, heavy antenna. Okay, back to you, Jay, and I'll say 73.
Yeah, sounds good. He's talking about like a 16 bay. I don't even know how you. It better come apart. I guess we'll put it that way. Otherwise, hope somebody has a flatbed. See you guys soon. I'll see what a date looks like. NT0Y, up clear.
NT0Y, W8RQS 73.
Yay. 3, guys.
This is CW8BCI repeater PL100 Hertz.